two side sections, recessed panels in the side of the crawler, and they're detailed and lit. The third one is like an engine section that doesn't have any lighting. It's just a bunch of pipes and gears and stuff. These, I'm working on the lighting, the side ones. This is one that I lit up with one 3mm warm white LED, and you can see there's a ladder in there. I turned the exposure way down on the camera to see if you can catch this. So the inside is weathered, and there's a ladder that goes from the top and the bottom, and the actual bulb where it comes through, I positioned it so it's behind. He put these like sections that come down from the ceiling, which hide the bulb if you put it in the right way. So if you look at it straight on or from above, you cannot see the source. One thing that bothers me is if you light something and you can see the light source, it's not only shines like right in your eyes, it's kind of distracting. So I tried to hide it as best I could. You're still going to see it if you look at it from below, but you're not really going to look at it from below because this part in particular is positioned low on the model, so there's almost no way you're going to see the ceiling of this specific recessed area. So again, I used a bunch of brown and mixed colors, rust colors, and then I sprayed it with like a beige, which kind of gave it a kind of a sand blown kind of look, and then I detailed the inside with some pastels. So there's some rust pastel, some silver, and some other kinds that highlight some of the detail that's in there, so everything doesn't blend all together. Even with the lighting, you would see some of the detail, but the colors kind of bring everything out when the light's off. So this is the other section, and this piece goes on dead center, right in the middle of the side of the crawler. And it's cool. It's got like a hallway that goes this way, and there's a door in there. So you're not going to be able to see the door really unless you look at it from a really, really tight angle. So I put two of the lights in the top using the similar kind of positioning where there's two things coming down from the ceiling. So the light bulbs are actually behind those. So these are even better because there's no way you're going to see. You're not going to be down this low, so you're not going to be able to see those. And they light up the front area. And then I put a 5mm LED in the side that's next to the door. So it shines down this hallway, and you cannot see that no matter how you look at this. You cannot see where that light's coming from. And it evenly lights this whole area. So that worked out pretty well. Just to give you a better look at the detail, I didn't put this one together so you can see where I put the bulb. And there's a lot of rust on there, a lot of brown. Looks dusty. There's some machinery in there, so some electrical work, so I highlighted that with some silver. And this piece just glues on, and then the whole piece glues onto the side. So that's all done. I have to put these in and then mask them off. And I'm working on the cockpit, which is like the whole area behind the windows and up top. And right now it's just primered, and then I used a dark gray on it. And I'm in the process of drilling holes for the fiber optic, and I added this little room here on the side So the part didn't have this, it had a door here. And I've seen this before. I think some other guy did this, but I did it before I saw his. So, can't give him credit. So I created a little room, and masked that off because that was already painted. So there's a little room back there. So you go through this door, and there's a hallway. And there's another door that I put in. So it created that little entryway. So I guess when you're looking at the cockpit, you'll be able to see that. It gives it another dimension. So it looks like there's a way to get into the cockpit, or I don't know what's down there. Maybe they maybe the Jawas have like a maybe that's where the bathroom is. I don't know. Maybe they have a pool table back there. So I put 2 lights in there, in that little hallway, so you'd be able to light it up. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to light the cockpit up. Other than the lights for the fiber optic, I think it's going to need some kind of a light so you can see the inside of it, and not just the fiber optics in there. And I'll have to figure out a way to put those in there so you're not going to be able to see the bulbs, and it's not too bright. So there's a little hallway in there. And that's painted already. It's like a brown. There's some detail on the side walls, and there's a door that matches this door that's closed on the back here. The good thing about this model is there's so much room inside, I don't have to worry about any of the lighting, any of the wiring or anything like that. There's so much room in there, so that's pretty nice. It's rare. So I'll come back. I'm going to work on this thing a little more because I want to put some detail on it and stuff, so I'll show you that. Here's a closer shot of the interior. That's that piece. Here's the other one. See, there's no way you can see that bulb in there. One other thing that I just wanted to show you. This is liquid electrical tape, and they make a couple different brands of this stuff, but I use this stuff for if I make my own LEDs with adding the resistor and they're not pre-wired. I put this stuff on the LED where it meets the wire, and I try and cover up any metal that's showing, so in case something touches, it won't knock out the lights in the model. And it comes with a brush, but that thing's too thick, so I use an old brush. This will also do a hell of a job light blocking. It's much better than that tulip stuff that some people seem to like. I tried using that stuff, and I have a bottle of it, and it's too thin. This stuff is really thick, and it will cover up. It's probably a lot more expensive than tulip, but it's great for this stuff because it'll dry quick. You can even use a hairdryer on it or something, and it will hold together. Just an added layer of protection, I guess you could say, for anything coming loose. And I'll take all the help I can get with that, because if something happens and it goes haywire and a wire pulls out by accident, God only knows how, I don't want lights going out, because if that happens, then I have to take a model apart, and that's never a fun situation. So I'm being kind of liberal with this stuff. And you can see I'm covering the entire metal, and also I put some here on top so no light comes out. I'm trying to get in really tight on this just to see if I can get some detail in the camera. So this cockpit, I think I showed it was dark gray. This is, to me, a Weathering Master. And this specific one is gunmetal, silver, and rust, orange rust. And instead of painting this stuff, I am using the silver to highlight these controls and all these kind of banks that have all these controls on them. And that is actually not, instead of dry brushing it, you really don't, I mean, you can dry brush if you want, I guess. That's kind of old school, since this Weathering Master came out, in my opinion. I've dry brushed enough times to know that this stuff works better for me, and you don't have to keep dipping it in paint and taking paint off, and because you can, the more you press down on it, the more you're going to get on whatever you're adhering it to. So some of the stuff I'm going down a little harder, and other stuff I am just kind of brushing over it because I want it to look really worn and beat up. And that's bringing out all this detail. And this is just the first thing I'm doing. I'm gonna layer a bunch of different techniques on here, I guess you could call them. But I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging this. This stuff will stay on your model if you coat it with a clear coat. As long as you don't douse it with a clear coat, it will stay on there. Not like the, you know, pastels will wash right off. This stuff is pretty tough, and it will come off with a Q-tip and some Windex, or maybe just some water. It will come off. So if you go nuts and you overdo it, you can actually take this stuff off. So I'm going to do this whole cockpit with the silver, and then I'm going to go over it probably with the gunmetal and maybe even the rust, and then I have a bunch of other colors that I'm going to add to this. Even just the silver, it already looks 100% better, and I didn't have to dry brush it or anything, or paint little detail in there that I might have screwed up. I could still paint over this stuff if I want. I can paint some of the buttons white and red, which I'll probably do, but that's a good first step anyway. Even if you just leave it like that, it's probably good enough, but I'm going to add to it. So here's where I am with the cockpit area. I put in some of the fiber optics and some of the lighting, and I only use the smaller fiber optics right now. I'm waiting on the larger size fiber because I don't have any. I thought I had some, but I need some 0.75 millimeter fiber. I put in 0.5 millimeter in a bunch of these spots, and I want to vary up the size. So I haven't put the bigger fiber in yet, and I also haven't put any flashing lights in yet. So I'm working on that, but I want to get all the fiber in first and then pick and choose which ones I want to light up and blink or whatever. I put in 4 LEDs that I don't believe you're going to be able to see to illuminate the entire room. And there's a top piece that goes in, so it's a very narrow area that you're going to be looking at. This piece actually goes to the top of the ship. You know, it attaches to the roof, and then the rest of the structure connects to that. So you're looking at a really narrow, you know, area to look into, but it should be all lit up, and those lights light up the ceiling nice too. So everything should be lit up inside You should be able to see the whole thing, and you should be able to see the fiber optics and the blinking lights and everything. So, pretty happy with that. So that should do it for part 2. I did some electrical work in this section and some details, detailing for parts that are lit. So I'm going to work on the cockpit outside next, and I'll show you what's going on with that later.